Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
Courage, a history of non-belief. A production of the Mid-Ohio Valley Atheist and Humanist. Xenophanes of Colophon was born around 570 BCE, or 9431 of the human era, before the rise of Socrates and his later dominance of classical philosophical thought. At the age of 25, he left his home city and traveled the wider Greek world of the Eastern Mediterranean for 67 years. As a philosopher and a poet, Xenophanes' philosophical writings dealt with the nature of gods, how we know what we know, and the first principles of knowledge itself. Xenophanes' worldly travels convinced him that the gods and goddesses worshipped by his society and its contemporaries were human-made. One sure sign that a people's gods tended to look and act just like the people who worshipped them. But if cattle and horses and lions had hands, or could paint with their hands and create works such as men do, horses like horses and cattle like cattle also would depict the gods' shapes and make their bodies of such sort as the form they themselves have. Xenophanes also observed that the revelations and prophecies of these gods really ventured no farther than the technological level and knowledge of the societies who worshipped them. The gods have not, of course, revealed all things to mortals from the beginning, but rather, seeking in the course of time, they discover what is better. To put it in more modern terms, if holy books like the Bible, Quran, or Book of Mormon are the ultimate source of truth, why are they not more accurate and predictive of the future? Historically accurate, or more accurate about science and the natural world? If they are truly the word of a god, these books should have better science than the eras that came later. Yet, there's no Darwin, no Newton, or Einstein in any of them. Xenophanes wrote on how we come to know our world, strongly advocating the need for direct observation and research, exemplified by his completely accurate conclusion that the Earth had undergone geologic periods where what was once wet and been under the sea was now dry and high on a mountain. This was a conclusion that he evidenced by his own research into the discoveries of sea life fossils in mountainous areas. Xenophanes also proposed that while the understanding of the world must be done through observation, that our understanding of the world would always be limited by the nature of our physical and mental abilities as humans. Thus, claims to absolute knowledge, the type most frequently made by the religious, were nonsense. Xenophanes wasn't an atheist, and we shouldn't confuse him for such. But he did argue convincingly that the gods as worshipped in his time were clearly made up by humans, and he created a solid test to determine if messages from a so-called god had truth. Finally, he laid the foundations for a scientific worldview by showing how the world must be understood through human observation and experience while understanding those limits. All of which were precursors to non-belief, the rejection of superstition, and part of our ancient foundations.